Following Dorga's guidance, the Light Warriors headed to the Temple of Time to retrieve Noah's lute, which had the power to awaken Un from the dream world as the adventure continues.
Un's shrine. No secrets, it seems. Also a cliff inside your home. We have to very precariously sidle up to this just to reach the place. Would that happen to be Noah's lute? It might be able to awaken Un. I can't do a parrot voice. And yes, we do have the lute somewhere. Lute. Played Noah's lute. The tone, said to reach even the world of dreams, echoes through the room. It's like a precursor to Edward's song from Final Fantasy IV, for people who have no context as to what Edward's song is. Mumble mumble, yawn. Terrific! Un has awakened! Yay! I slept well. Come on, parrot. Ride on my shoulder. Aye, aye, sir. Now it's time for wake-up exercises. As she runs on the ceiling? Okay, sure. Or is it just a really high wall? It's the same graphic as the ceiling, so it's hard to be sure. Presenting Un of the Dream World! Ha 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 ha! Okay, can I sleep in your bed? No. I'm Un. I haven't seen this world for a while. Ah, this is a good place. Oh, I heard about you in my dreams from Dorga. I can't believe Zand would do such a thing. Anyway, first we've got to get to the great ship. It can cross mountains. It must be in the ancient ruins to the north. Shall we be off? Huh? What? You don't want to go with this old lady? Is that it? No, that's not it. Then let's go. Un joined the party, more like forced herself into the party. Not that we have much choice anyway, we kinda need her. Oh, before I forget, I should give this to you. What's this? The 2 fangs you have and this one are the only things which can destroy the statues. There's still one more fang, the Earth Fang. We need the great ship to get it. Now let's go. Received Fire Fang. We have the 3rd of the 4 fangs, and we were also given context as to why we need the great ship. And now Un is with us, so that we may go do that, along with her parrot. When I was a kid, I did not understand that sprite at all, because I didn't see the parrot. I just thought Un had this weird device attached to the side of her head. And I had no idea what I was supposed to be seeing. The great ship can cross mountains. We need it if we are to obtain the Earth Fang. Come on, let's go to the ancient ruins. The great ship's name is Invincible. It was built by the ancients. Of course it was. The great ship can cross mountains. We need it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, she has said her things. Now let us be off to not the ancient ruins. There is another thing I wish to do first. But before that even, let's heal up. Let's go to an inn. And also a shop to sell some stuff. Buy some high potions. Alright, what do we want to sell? I don't think I need the rune anymore, or the gauntlet, or knight, or the hero shield, or the ice helmet, or the king sword, or the Ori Halcon. I also don't need magic keys anymore. All this other stuff, though, I want to hold on to. Well, I don't think I need holy arrows anymore either, honestly. And I'll also keep the blood sword just in case. I'm in a situation where getting a little bit of healing might be more handy than dishing out a bit of extra damage. Let's organize our stuff a bit. Just fill in all the empty spots. Save up. And then let us venture off to not the ancient ruins. Because I want to go to the other place. There's another place I was going, like I said, there's another place I was going to do before the Temple of Time. But I decided while doing that I wanted to do the Temple of Time first. I had changed my mind. But now it is time to do that. This place. Let's dive. There's a cave down here, which we had heard about before. Somebody had mentioned an underground cave on or near a triangular island. And this is a purely optional dungeon. You can do it as soon as you get the as soon as the Nautilus is able to submerge underwater. But I was getting so much experience here that I decided I was partway through it, and then I just decided, you know what? I want to do this second. I want to do the Temple of Time first. I just decided partway through this just because of how quickly I was leveling up. And I actually compared them. I went to the Temple of Time, did a few battles, and definitely realized I was gaining less experience there. So I decided I want to do them in order based on that. But I do want to do this for sure before the next dungeon. So I don't hold off too much on getting the upgrades here. Haha, betray your friend, just bite into his neck and tear out his throat. And then while you're victorious, bitly bathing in the blood that you believe to be ours, an arrow just thunk right into your temple, and then you drop dead with your friend. And then Azure becomes more skilled thanks to that. Just costs so much to become other things. But we do have the Protect Rings on you two, right? Protect Ring, yes. You're low on arrows. Let's swap before that becomes a problem rather than after. And Gatai has his Defender equipped. Yes, so he should get good hit points. Not amazing hit points, but good hit points. And I just don't have the capacity to be swapping every single time I'm about to level up with everybody. Just do the same thing as before. Two guys attack one while I confuse the other. And then Gadia just wreaks havoc on all of them. And because that's magic damage, it doesn't undo the confusion. Chop, chop, chop. Alright, and now this next turn, you use Cheer. You guys attack the one that's not confused, and then again use Terrain. Ah, he's pissed that I was cheering. He didn't like my cheer. That guy didn't like my cheer either, so he killed himself. Let's go with that. Let's stick with that instead of the much more practical possibility that he was in such a crazed state from the confusion effect that he just flew around wildly and crashed into the wall, snapping his neck on a stalactite. And now you take the Protect Ring for a second so you can get your level up. There is a treasure there, but I know up here is a dead end. So I'm gonna do that first. I know it's blasphemous, ow, walking away from a treasure chest. And that damage is a problem. That's one of the problems with being in the back row or having low defense is, yeah, you're protected in the back row. You won't get hit as often or won't get hit for as many hits much of the time. But if you do get hit, what? Gadia, level up. Okay, we did it. Now we can just switch right back. Maximize efficiency. Take advantage of the fact that our characters have wonky experience points. Normally, it is obnoxious or an annoying thing, but we can use it to our advantage. Gain strength through the power of past failures. That's just how life is. You live and you learn. Only in this case, we live and we manipulate. Which is just another thing you could do, I guess. Hello? Just the same old stuff. Split up our attacks a bit. Particularly if we don't want anybody attacking the same enemy as our bard. So that if the enemy gets confused, they don't immediately get unconfused from being smacked again. There's a situation where I feel like I can switch to the blood sword. Maybe get a little bit more hit points, because these guys are low enough that they'll be taken out sufficiently soon enough. So I'm less concerned about dealing damage in this round, and more concerned with just maybe getting some health back. Confused! Health back, unconfused. Aha! Confused again! This guy just doesn't know what's going on. I just need to make sure that he doesn't level up while holding the blood sword, so I don't miss out on hit points. Second defender! I'm going to be keeping that, because that means when Gatai is close to leveling, I can equip him with 2 defenders, getting even more having even higher vitality. And, I mean, he'll lose out on defense for a battle or two because he won't have his shield, but that's a small price to pay. Also, Darrow just got his ass kicked from that sneak attack because somehow snails snuck up on us. These things were able to get the jump on us somehow. Stop it! Hit somebody else. Well, at least now he's safe in the back. Sing! Actually, you cure 2. Because I kind of need that at the moment. Cure 2! That's a little better. The hunter's magic is so bad. He practically might as well not even have it, save for getting a little bit of healing outside of battle, and also just having somebody else who can cast Mini or Toad if you need those. One of them is confused. Let's go for confusing another one. So much damage. Enemies hit each other for a lot more than they tend to hit you. I imagine enemies just don't have all that much defense, so their attacks translate into far harder hits on themselves or each other than they do on your party. Azure skill up, Guardia skill up. I want to save my high potions for battle. I'm better off using just these basic cures if I need to heal outside of battle. Let's get you back your defender sword for the time being. Unless I'm in a situation where I can sufficiently and swiftly end a battle, I feel like I'm better off dealing more damage. Another diamond shield. That's the one I already have, right? Yes. I don't need that. Ah, more snails. Same strat. Azure, Gatai, gang up on 1. Gadia, summon forth the elements to sweep them away, while Daryl disorients the other, setting us up for an efficient second round. Cheer. Defend. You. Remove your shield and equip the blood sword. Attack. Terrain. And now that we're done with that, 156 with both of those equipped. Put your shield back on. We're just dragging Un through this place. She's like, where the hell are you taking me? This isn't the ancient ruins. This is some useless underwater cavern. Where are we going? We have to go get the great ship so that we can defeat Zand. And we're just like, no, we're exploring. We want to wander through this cave with all these monsters, risking our lives and the fate of the world on some random treasure hunt. And we decided to drag you along with us. We could have come here before waking you up, but we thought we could use some company. So here we are. And then she's just grumbling, like, freaking rotten kids, waking me up just for this nonsense. I could have slept another 30 minutes, but no! You had to wake me up and drag me into this stupid place. And then we're just like, adventure awaits! Just completely disregarding the concerns of this old lady that we basically hijacked to come along with us. I dropped my controller. Alright. cheer, defend, same as before. Just don't attack the thing because we want it to hit itself and take advantage of that possibility by maybe getting Gatai some hit points. Unless she takes herself out first. That keeps happening. That's okay. I would rather be in that situation where the enemy is helpless. I would rather just have everybody hold off and have the possibility of getting Gatai some health back rather than just go all in and maybe take the enemy out and attack sooner, but get nothing out of it. Because she's confused, so it's not like she can fight back anyway. We're getting close to a level up, so double up on your defenders. So much attack power. And now you've got 39 vitality. Frickin' phone calls, especially when they're important. Alright, see, now I have some capacity. So, let's see. Is there anybody I want? Is there anything I want to do with that? How much would it cost, though, to actually do anything? It costs him so much to become anything useful. I also lose my magic points. But I have, what? 73 high potions, so I think I'll manage. Let's use up the most of the rest of my cures. Become Karateka once more. And then it costs 9 to get back. Soon it'll cost nothing. And then Protect Ring. You're still a good ways off, kind of? Can you become anything for cheap? A monk. If I turn you into a monk, though, and then a Karateka? That doesn't save too much, and then... Oh, you can become a Viking for a lot cheaper. I'm actually going to give Gadia the Protect Ring, though, just because I think there are some battles here that can give over 2100 experience. And Daryl's already got plenty of vitality as the Viking as is. And Gadia isn't going to have the capacity to switch to a different job this go anyway. Let's advance. Oh wait, I just got a tomahawk. Let's give you that. Also, not the flame mail yarn, the diamond shield, the flame mail. Doesn't look like there's a helmet, but the power ring. There we go, now you can actually do stuff. Let's advance. Let's let this guy be in the front for a moment. Hello, things. Acha! 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 And then terrain. Whoosh! Drown them! Even though they live in an underwater cave, so how does that even work? Chop, 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 chop! Gatai's defenses are currently compromised because he doesn't have his shield, but that's okay. It'll pay off in the long run when he gets more hit points thanks to his mighty swords that grant him enchanted might. Or not really enchanted might, but enchanted toughness. Oh, we're getting our asses kicked so hard. Victory! 2100, exactly. Daryl level up, Azure level up, Gatai level up. And, okay, so I should have not given him the power ring because he missed leveling up by 24 points. Why is the experience point requirement to hit level 27 87,324 instead of 87,300? I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Anyway, let's get off of this now. Wait. I'm more concerned with you getting back at the moment first. Become Hunter. Yeah, I think I'm a bit short because going back to Bard will require 24. So just stay a Viking for a little bit. Just for a few battles. Maybe you'll even get a level up or two with it. And then that'll pay off in the long run. He's in the front though, so let's give him the flame mail for the time being. And then you can get your shield back because you also leveled. And Daryl can get back to being a bard just as soon as I have the capacity for it. So let's let a Viking lead the charge for a moment. Air knife, diamond armor. Immediate upgrade for you. Temporary upgrade for you, but still an upgrade. That'll keep you alive a little better. And now you can get your flame mail back. Now let's use a couple potions. Loki! Diamond bracer or bracelet or whatever. Yeah, that's right. No one could use that. Although, you probably can. Unequipped power. For diamonds? Or not. Anyway, you also get your diamond back. And you have protect. Wait. Gadia. Dang it. I completely had a lapse where I was like, oh, Gadia doesn't have his right thing equipped anymore, but that's because he had the one thing equipped for his impending level. Dang it. Oh well. Phoenix down. Elixir. Diamond. You know, what's done is done. Can't beat myself up over it, that's for sure. We just gotta keep pressing onward. But now he's the only one below 1300. Oh, secrets. Hello. Fight. Fight. Just everybody attack one guy again. There's not much elaboration I can do with this setup. So might as well just be as efficient as possible with whittling them down one at a time. I actually kind of like how this game... Aegis Shield! A monster appeared! Anyway, I was just saying... Ooh, this thing is intimidating. Anyway, I was just saying, I like how some of the secrets in this game are visible with the little marks on the wall, but then others aren't. You don't have your blood sword on, do you? Okay, good. And I like that because it makes it so even if you're playing through the game more casually, you'll still be able to find some secrets. But also, it's kind of a somewhat consistent reminder, just every now and then the game being like, oh, by the way, are you making sure to keep your eyes open for hidden passageways? Because those exist, those are still a thing. There's hidden passageways all throughout this game. So I like how some of them are visible, but then many of them are not. So you'll likely find, so there's some secrets that you can find just fine, but then, but you still gotta keep your eyes open for others. So not all the secrets are just handed to you on a silver platter. No room! I can always just buy more carrots. Let's go monk. And then from monk, back to bard. And now we have a Loki bow. Medora is 44. The Loki is 64. And I don't think those do anything special. I believe the Lamia harp is the only harp that has a status effect tied to it. At least in the original. I believe the 3D remake changed that so more harps had special effects. You've got all your correct stuff. You've got all your correct stuff, even though I screwed up your level with the protect thingy, but that's okay. I am completely out of capacity. But that's better than just sitting on it. It would be either that or I would have over 100 capacity, but I wouldn't be doing anything with it. Blood Spear monster appeared. I forgot to equip the thing. Oh well. I can do that after this. Hello, good sir. You're a single guy. Fight! Fight! What sword do you have? You have... Yeah, okay, good. Fight! Terrain! Defeat the dragon that was inside this treasure chest for some reason. Was it hiding behind the treasure chest? Was it living inside the treasure chest? Maybe it was hanging from the ceiling, waiting to strike any fools who dare come for the chest. Or maybe it was manifested from some sort of magical curse that was cast on the chest, so that whenever somebody would open it, this beast would be summoned. What item was that? That I just got? The blood spear, okay. Not useful because I'm not using a dragoon. Triton hammer. Another monster appeared, an eater. Now there's 2 eaters. Okay. Sing to that one. Shoot that one. Chop up that one. Summon forth a flood to wipe away them both. Terrain! They're still alive! I think he has a lot of hit points. Okay, but one of them's confused. Okay. Cheer. Resume beating the crap out of that guy. Switch to the blood sword for this round. With the defender. If there's inventory space for that. Okay. And terrain. Arrow. Just an arrow to the knee and he died. Chop. Hit points back. And then we cheer. The cheer ultimately isn't super useful in this situation, given that the battle's not going to last very long. Cheer is definitely better the longer a fight lasts, like against a boss or something. That was more just to set myself up because the enemy that still had hit points was confused. So I wanted to try to more or less avoid attacking it for as long as possible while setting myself up to finish it off after it perhaps hit itself and then take it out the next round. I was like setting myself up in advance for what was coming basically, or what I was anticipating. Anyway, remove the blood sword, put back on your diamond shield for a second. Let's check out our stats. 53 evade, 39 magic defense, 10 magic evade. 53, 39, 10. Diamond shield from 62 to, 5 more agility to 65. That alone will inherently boost my evasiveness as well. 56, 49, 10. But also 4 blocks, which I think is not because of the shield inherently, but because of the agility boost. Because agility affects, I think, just a lot of that stuff on the right. I believe it determines how many times you can attack, your hit percentage, how many times you can block, your evasiveness. I believe agility does so much, but it doesn't affect turn order. Turn order, I think, in this game is just completely random. But agility, I think, affects almost everything in that right bar, except maybe magic defense. Now this guy is a little trickier than the thing we just fought, because this guy duplicates from taking physical damage. So we hit him and he duplicates. Not from magic though, but they do have they are fairly resistant to magic. Here's the thing though, is when they duplicate, the copy only has the hit points of the copy's hit points are equal to the amount of hit points that the original had after taking the damage from the attack. So if I hit it for 600 and it duplicates, the duplicate will also have that 600 damage applied to it. So it is possible so even if you don't have magic or another means of fighting these guys, you can gradually whittle them down with brute force. That's also why I'm cheering, because Daryl won't do much with his attacks anyway, so I'd rather just boost the attack power of the others to minimize the duplicating that happens. I also believe they can't duplicate if they're paralyzed or put to sleep or afflicted with really any status effect. I think that also negates their ability to duplicate. Anyway, we got Reflect Armor, which is another upgrade for Gatai. looking at our less evident stats again, we've got 56, 49, 10. Because this screen only displays one of those things. From 65 to 67. And then our other things are now 58, 51, 10. Alright, just more upgrades. What are my skill levels? 10, 25. Getting a high up there with Hunter. 29, same with Knight. And Geomancer is 14. Okay. An ambush as they just whip all their thingies at Gatai. He deflected most from the first one, but he was too preoccupied with that, which left him vulnerable to the second. His shield already preoccupied with the first, distracting him. Equip the Lamia, attack that guy, shoot him, attack him, and terrain. This is a very straightforward party I have. There's not really a whole lot of elaboration as far as what I can do, because I don't have any wizards. And most jobs in this game outside of wizards are very straightforward. It's mostly just hit a thing or use an item to heal. And that's pretty much it. There's usually not a whole lot you can do beyond that in most situations. Aside from something fancy like switching to the blood sword. Or having to decide with my Geomancer whether or not I want to use terrain or get more guaranteed damage with an attack, since terrain can fail and backfire. But that hasn't been too much of a problem. When I was younger, I hated the Geomancer. I tried it once, saw my spell backfire, and I was like, Geomancer sucks. And then I never used it again. This is the very first time I've ever been actively using a Geomancer. And so far, it's been going fine. I still feel like I would rather just have a black wizard, but the infinite magic points is nice, or rather the lack of magic points, so he doesn't need to worry about that. And that's handy, because it means while I'm in the middle of a dungeon, if I want to switch jobs before leveling to get more hit points, I can do that without consequence outside of needing to spend the capacity to do so. Whereas if he was a black mage and I did that, suddenly he would be out of magic points for the rest of the dungeon. But the Geomancer isn't crippled by that, and I'm starting to feel like that's one of the Geomancer's greatest strengths. It's not so much that they themselves are particularly powerful, but they have that particular advantage over other magic users in that they can switch to another job real quick if needed, and then switch back without losing magic points, and becoming rendered useless. The Ancient Sword. And the Ancient Sword is kind of a weird one. Its attack power, I believe, is also really low. Yeah, only 19. But I believe it can inflict sleep. So we're definitely going to be keeping that. I'm not going to be always using it, but we're definitely going to be keeping it. Let's confuse you, attack you, sleep you, and terrain. And the thing with the Geomancer is it's not even just like the level up. You can also utilize it in other ways. Like if you're in the middle of a dungeon and you find a locked door, you can switch to... you can be like, okay, now let's switch to the thief real quick. Who do I want to switch my thief to? I can do it with the Geomancer, and now you can switch to the thief with the Geomancer and then... again, do it for free. Well, not free, you still have to pay the capacity, but you switch it to the Geomancer to the thief, open the door, and then switch back to the Geomancer, and you don't have to suffer the consequences of if you had done that with a black mage or a white mage. Or even a red mage if you're still using the red mage. Speaking of the red mage and the Ancient Sword, I was playing this game about a year ago, and... a lot of people, from what I've seen, like to rebalance this game. Make patches or whatever to... hang on, let's check that. I don't think I need the diamond helmet. No, okay. But I've seen a lot of people like to rebalance this game, make patches for it to balance the jobs, to make certain jobs more useful, and that's certainly a cool idea. Because a lot of jobs in this game aren't particularly useful in the long run. I feel like the only reason to do that is to make certain jobs viable in the end game, which they don't need to be, unless, oh, okay, it's paralysis, not sleep. But they don't really need to be unless you've played the game a ton of times and you're just bored of always having the same final party of ninjas and sages, since those are the only really viable jobs at the end of the game. And in that sense, wanting to have more balance can make sense. Let's confuse you, shoot you, switch to the defender to do you. I'm not a fan of that kind of thing, though. I would rather just play the game in its original form, faults and all, and if I have a problem with those faults, then I'd rather just play a different game than deal with feeling like I have to change the game's rules in order to enjoy it. I feel like if I've gotten to that point with a game, then why am I even playing it? I should just be playing something else. That's just my thought on mods in general. I'm not really a fan of that mentality of, oh, I like this game, but I need it to be different. It's like, well, then evidently you don't like the game very much. Maybe find a different game to be playing. But I digress. When I was playing through this about a year ago, I actually did start getting to thinking about that. And level up, level up, level up, skill up. You had your protect rings, right? Protect ring. Protect ring. Okay, good. That level up sort of snuck up on me. Not kind of, not really though. It's more that I'm just focused on trying to get some thoughts out. And you... I still don't feel like I have the capacity to do much with you. Because it's also a concern of being able to switch back. It's not just being able to switch to another job. Blah, 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 blah. It's not just about being able to switch to another job and then get the level. You also need to... You also want to have enough capacity to then switch back. Ditch the frickin' earth drum. That's another thing that I'm probably never gonna use. Remove that, and equip the protect ring. So it's like, sure, I could become a Viking to get some more hit points, but then I wouldn't be able to get back to Geomancer. And I'd like to also be getting those skill levels for Geomancer, making it cheaper to switch, and all that. And just becoming more proficient with the job. Anyway, there was... So when I was doing this run, the run that I'm trying to reference, I did get to thinking about the idea of mods and such, though, and I actually thought there were 3 particular jobs that stood out. And I actually got to thinking, if I were to make a mod of this game that adjusted the balance of the jobs, there are 3 changes I would like to make. They're not significant changes, though, and all the other jobs I would keep exactly the same. But there are 3 jobs I would like to, see changed under those kinds of conditions. But we're almost done with this dungeon, and the next one doesn't really have a whole lot going on. So I'm going to save that discussion for once we've actually started the ancient ruins. But just a little preview of what's gonna come up shortly. Now that I have the Lamia harp and the ancient sword, though, my party definitely has more utility, because now I can confuse and paralyze enemies rather consistently and take advantage of that. And Gaudia can technically paralyze enemies as well with one of his bells, but that's a little less reliable because he's in the back row, which is affecting his accuracy with his weapons, because I don't think the bells are long-range weapons. I wasn't sure before, but I looked it up, and from what I found, it seemed implied that they were not. Now Gaudia is the one falling behind on hit points. Get your diamond back. There's also just inventory space. That's another thing that can keep you from being able to swap jobs to build up your vitality. Even if I had wanted to spend my capacity to do that, I don't think I have room in my inventory to unequip Gadia to achieve that. And I'm sure that's why the game requires you to manually unequip your characters before switching jobs, just to make sure. It was probably just easier from a programming standpoint to make it so that the player has to manually unequip their stuff themselves, rather than having it be an automatic thing that happens when you change jobs. So once more, once more Azure, shoot that guy. Gadia, back up the damage with terrain while Gatai and Daryl team up on the enemies in the back to disable them. And then wash them away while they're disoriented. And then you can cheer to set us up for finishing this off. You attack that guy. Switch to your defender. Attack the paralyzed one. I'm pretty sure that's the paralyzed one. I would rather... yeah, there we go. I would rather attack and undo paralysis than attack and undo confusion. Cheer! Strengthen Gatai for the finishing blow! 696 damage. We haven't quite yet broken 1,000 at all. Save for that one instance where I used a bomb arm and it did way more damage than I anticipated. I also just realized I forgot to double up on Gatai's defenders for the recent level up. But again, I don't know if I had the inventory space, and if I did, oh well. You can't exactly play optimally when you're also focused on talking. If my attention wasn't divided, I would be much more meticulous with that sort of stuff and keeping a very close eye on my experience levels and other similar things. Alright, now you attack that one. You try to finish that guy off. You switch to your defender. Go for the paralyzed one. And summon more floods. Oh no, wait, that was the confused one. There. One of the problems with these older RPGs is that they don't show status icons of any kind on enemies. And so I have to keep track of it all myself, which normally is very easy to do, unless, again, my attention is divided. Skill up! Skill up! Yay! We are becoming better at our jobs. Hello. Ambush. They just jumped from the water as we were trying to leave. We're just dragging our weary bodies, trying to make that last stretch to the exit, and then these things just show up and ruin our day. But little do they know that they are the ones who are to be ruined. Is that the last battle we have to fight, or is there gonna be one more? And it was just like, oh, thank God, we finally got out of that stupid place. Now stop getting distracted. Let's focus on what we need to do. We have to save the world before Zand destroys it in darkness. No, what are you doing? Don't go to this freaking town. I'm like, I got arrested at the inn. And she's like, you're wasting so much of my time. I wish you had just left me in the dream world until after you did all this crap. Alright, sell some stuff. Before I sell some stuff, let's make sure everybody has their proper stuff so I don't accidentally sell anything that should be equipped. Because I was messing around with my equipment a bit. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Okay, the main thing I want to make sure was that I actually did have a spare diamond bracer. Okay, sell all this extra diamond stuff. It's not... Diamond is good, but I'm not going to be needing it. By the time I need a heavy armor, I'll have better stuff available. I want to keep the power ring, sell the diamond helmet, sell the Medora harp, the Triton hammer, sell the air knife, the tomahawk, and the blood spear. And I want to keep all three of these swords. Just so Gatai has the options of swapping between either dual-wielding defenders, debilitating enemies with the ancient sword, or using the blood sword to get some health back in situations where that is advantageous. And I wish this game had more interesting weapons like that outside of swords. But it really doesn't. The only weapons that are super interesting like that, for the most part, are swords. There's also the elemental characteristics of arrows and tomes for the scholar. But for the most part, all that really amounts to is dealing more damage to enemies that are weak against certain elements. One of my favorite things about the knight is not only just the fact that he's a solid fighter who can protect people, but also just that he can, that he has all these different options. Even just now I have the blood sword for draining health, I have the defender for increasing my vitality and just having higher damage, and I have the ancient sword for utility at disabling enemies, preventing them from being able to retaliate in the first place. Just all these different options are starting to open up, which in turn helps make the game more interesting because I'm not just attacking every turn. I'm switching things up based on circumstances, but instead of having different spells to use based on those circumstances, I have different swords. And that's one thing the original Final Fantasy needed, was the ability to switch weapons in battle, because that game also had a lot of different types of weapons, like swords and such, that had different effectivenesses against different enemies, but you were never going to use them because unless you know there's like a set battle in advance coming up, you're not going to be using those swords. You're just going to use the strongest one available. So you're doing consistent damage rather than holding on to like a dragon sword or a giant sword just for the random chance that that's the type of enemy you might encounter. Where am I going? But now I have to find the ancient cave, and here we are. Everything's looking good. Let's switch to the ice arrows because I have the most of those. Am I close enough to level that I want to get it before going in? The only person to really do... You know what? No. Because the only person who would really benefit from that significantly is Azure, because he's the only one with magic points, and his magic sucks anyway. So I don't really feel like I need to stop and grind, whereas if Gaudia were a black wizard, I would consider grinding out these levels real quick with higher vitality jobs, then enter the dungeon. So then I don't have to worry about being partway through and then sacrificing all my magic points to get more hit points. We gained 3 levels in that place, and that was after saving it for after the Temple of Time. So yeah, I definitely approve of how I went about that.